Today is December 12th, 2017. My name is Joe Todd. This is an interview with Ken Maddox in Oceana, Oklahoma. Sir, where were you born?
Born in Brownsville, Texas.
Brownsville, Texas. And when's your birthday?
April 21st, 1935.
1935. Who was your father?
William Maddox.
And your mother?
Mary Evelyn Maddox.
What was her maiden name?
Her name was Lee.
Lee. Did you go through school in Brownsville?
No, we left her when I was real young, about 6 months old, I think. Moved back to down around Duncan, Oklahoma.
Duncan. You go through school in Duncan?
No, I went to school in Marlow.
Marlow.
It's just north of Duncan.
Yeah. What year did you graduate?
1953. In Cooperton, Oklahoma.
Cooperton.
Uh-huh.
Where's that located?
That's out by Hobart.
Okay.
About 30 miles east of Hobart, southeast of Hobart. It's just a little bitty community. It's nothing but a ghost town now.
Yeah. What type of work did your father do?
He was a farmer.
Farmer?
Yeah.
What chores did you do in the farm?
You name it, or milked cows, drove the tractor, and helped in the wheat harvest. I left home when I was 20 years old, joined the Army.
Yeah.
I didn't see much of a future in farming at that time.
Yeah. How large was your farm? How many acres?
We had 240 acres.
240 acres.
Yeah.
What kind of tractor did you have?
Well, we had a M Farmall and a case, great big case, and a little Ford, small Ford.
Did you play sports in school?
Yes, sir. Played softball and baseball. When I got into high school, I played softball in grade school.
Who was your favorite teacher?
Probably was Mr. Alvin Rose. And
Wow.
he was my grade school teacher.
Why was he your favorite?
Well, he was quite a sport fan. He believed if you get all your schoolwork done, you could go outside and play ball. So we would rush around and try to get all of our homework done in the morning, and then we'd play softball all afternoon and track. And I was pretty good in softball and made all county first baseman in 8th grade.
Yeah. During World War II, did you help with the scrap metal drives or rubber drives?
World War II, I can't hardly remember it. See, I was only like 6 or 7
Yeah,
years
that started
old.
41, went up to 45. Yeah.
Don't hardly remember it. I'm sure it did probably.
Yeah.
I know we had a scrap metal drive, still had it around when I was in high school. When I was a senior in high school, we'd go all around the country and then get scrap metal off of farmers' places, you know, that was abandoned, and sell or raise funds for our senior trip. So I enjoyed that.
Where was your senior trip?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Did many boys from around there go to Korea?
You know, out there in that community, there was very many that went to anywhere in the military. There was all farmers, and they, you know, for some reason or other, they didn't have to go.
Yeah.
So there was some that went to Korea.
So you left the farm and joined the Army when you were 19, when you were 20?
20.
Okay. Why'd you join the Army or the Navy or the Marines?
Well, I just kind of felt like that it's everybody's duty to serve the country for one thing, and then I I didn't have much going for me. We were sort of poor, and I figured that'd be a way to, I could get some military benefits and go to college.
So you joined the Army in 1955?
53.
53?
No, 1956, I'm sorry.
No, 19. You recall the date you joined the Army?
Yeah, it's 14 November 1956.
1956. Where'd you go for your basic training?
Fort Chaffee, Arkansas.
Tell me about basic.
I breezed right through it like there's nothing to it. I've been hauling hay all summer. So I got down there, and man, I maxed the PT test, set a record for doing most setups, and it was rough. We had a lot of night exercises, and around, I don't know if you've been to Fort Smith, Arkansas or not, but it's real hilly. We stumbled all over those mountains down there at night, and it was cold. It was in the winter, in December and January.
What type of training did you have in basic?
Just standard infantry basic training.
And basic lasted how long?
8 weeks for just regular basic, and then when I graduated from that, I went to Fort Eustis, Virginia for AIT and trained in aviation mechanics, helicopter mechanics.
Tell me about your aviation school, your helicopter school.
That was fun. I enjoyed that. It lasted, I think it was 10 weeks, and we trained on all different types of helicopters at that time, engine repair and stuff like that.
What helicopters did you have?
We had trained in the little H-23s, light observation helicopters. At that time, they didn't have anything big. And then I went from there to Fort Sill, and we had the big H-34 and H-19 and H-37. Great big, huge thing.
How long did helicopter school last?
It lasted 10 weeks.
Did you request helicopter school?
Yes, I did, before I joined the Army.
Why'd you want helicopters?
I don't know. I just wanted to fly. I like flying. About changed my mind, though, when I was partway through school down there. It was Mother's Day, and a bunch of us decided, well, we'll go out to the airfield and see if we can get a ride in a helicopter. We got out there, and all they had was a little bitty the H-23s, and they said, we can only take one at a time up. I think there was 4 of us. Said, flip a coin, see who gets to go. So I didn't make the first round, and the guy that won got up in the helicopter, and the door flew off, got up into the props, and the helicopter crashed and killed him. So I said, I don't know if I want this or not. Kind of a sad Mother's Day, though.
Oh, yeah. So, did you work on helicopters at Fort Sill?
Yes, I did.
On the big helicopters?
Right.
Yeah. Now, were you trained to be a mechanic, crew chief, or what?
Well, Bob started out as a mechanic and moved on up to crew chief.
Okay. How long were you at Fort Sill?
Let's see, almost 3 years.
What unit were you assigned to down there?
134th Aviation Company.
So, Fort Sill, where'd you go?
I got out of the Army at Fort Sill when my tour was up, and I didn't stay long. I was out 2 or 3 months, and I re-enlisted, went back and joined went in the medical field.
Okay. So when did you join the Army again?
1960.
1960.
Yeah.
Went in the medical field.
Yeah.
You have to take basic again, did you?
No, but it was almost like basic. They sent me to Fort Chaffee, Houston for medical AIT, be a basic medical corpsman.
Yeah.
And then from there I went to Fort Bliss, Texas, and worked there in a dispensary for 2 years. And I applied for flight school on to be a helicopter pilot or advanced medical training, which lasted a year. I applied for both of them at the same time, and they were both approved. And I was kind of trying to decide which one I wanted, and my wife decided for me. She said, "You're not going to be a helicopter pilot," because we'd had a lot of friends killed in a helicopter. So I went to advanced medical school in Walter Reed Hospital.
What type of training did you have at Walter Reed?
Well, it's called clinical specialist school, but it's equivalent to an LPN. Went there for a year and had all kind of training with the doctors and worked in every aspect of the hospital, from the OR down to pediatrics, and every phase of it.
You at Walter Reed how long?
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
Then where'd you go?
Let's see. I went to Korea from there. Stayed in Korea a year.
What unit were you with in Korea?
121st Evac Hospital.
Where were you based in Korea?
A little place called Sinjan, south of Seoul, about 20 miles.
What'd you do there?
I was a ward master in the hospital there.
What type of patients did you have over there in Korea?
Well, at that time, the war was over, and it was just the patients from the Army units that come in, that had maybe for surgery, or it was an evacuation hospital. It was like a 60-bed hospital, is all it was. And we had a medical ward, a surgical ward. I was ward master on the surgical ward.
Yeah.
And
what does a ward master do?
Ward master was just the NCOIC of the ward. I had I guess maybe 12, 15 underneath me that I had to oversee, and also I assisted in everything on the ward, and overseeing everything. Made time schedules and stuff like that, in addition to nursing duties.
So did North Korea make any incursions into South Korea while you were there?
Yes, second tour. I went to Korea twice too. And I was up on the DMZ at that time.
What happened?
It was at, let's see what the name of that place up there. Can't remember the name, the Korean names I can't remember. But we were right on the DMZ, and we'd get shot at every day up there. Coming across that DMZ, you never know if you're getting a chow line, if you're going to make it up to the door or not. That's when they like to open fire on you. But it was exciting. we drew combat pay there, believe it or not.
Now, the second time in Korea, what unit were you with?
I was with the 1st Battalion, 23rd Infantry, 2nd Infantry Division.
So you were infantry then?
Pardon me?
Were you infantry at that time?
No, I was still a medic, but I was
Still
in the
medic.
infantry unit.
Okay, okay. So you're 1st Battalion?
23rd Infantry.
What's your most vivid memory of Korea?
What is that?
What's your most vivid memory of Korea?
It was early one morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning. We were scheduled to have an exercise the next day. We were going out in the boonies for a while. And they woke all the medics up about 1 o'clock in the morning. Said everybody report to the dispensary immediately. We got down there and they said, this is not an exercise. North Koreans came across the line and hit Alpha Company, which was up the road from us about 3 miles, and they need all the medics we can get up there. So we got in our frontline ambulances headed up there, and we came around a little bend in the road, and you could see everything was burning. Barracks were burning, and they'd slipped in and throwed some satchel charges in one of the barracks while the guys were sleeping. There was sleeping bags hanging out of trees, and the whole barracks were just leveled. And there were several dead and wounded inside there. So we had to get all of them up in the ambulance, get them back down the road to our dispensary, and they called in every doctor in the division, flew them in the helicopters, and we worked all night on that. When the sun came up, we were still working.
Where did that happen?
It was at it is our dispensary down to the 23rd Infantry.
Okay.
It's about I don't know, about 5 miles north of the Imogene River, right on the DMZ.
Did we ever make any incursions into North Korea?
No, as medics we didn't, but we had some of our platoons would go across there, and you know, they'd go across, and the North Koreans would come across.
Now, when did that happen?
Oh, let's see, that was 1967.
Now, when did you go to Vietnam?
First time, 1965.
65, okay.
Yeah.
So you went to Vietnam between your Korea tours?
Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of alternated, you know. Went to Korea first and then to Vietnam. Back to Korea, back to Vietnam.
Yeah. So where'd you go in Vietnam?
Where?
Yes.
The first trip I was in La Caille. I don't know if you're familiar with that area or not. It's north of Saigon, north of Saigon up in the rubber plantation. And stayed there a while. And, well, we got in an ambush coming back late one night, or late one afternoon. And come across the bridge had been blown. At that time, you travel in military convoys, the headquarters did. And there was only like 30 or 40 of us in that little convoy. The Viet Cong blew the bridge and blocked the road in front of us. We couldn't get across, so they had to kind of dig that bridge out. We had big bulldozers and things with us. They got in there and dozed that bridge out so we could get across. By that time it was getting dark, and our battalion commander was flying around a helicopter up there so high he couldn't hardly see him. And our CO requested that we stay there overnight, so it's getting, it's dark and it's dangerous out here at night in a convoy. and he denied our request, and I'll go on about 10 miles up the road. There's a South Vietnamese compound, and we spend the night there. So we've got about a quarter of a mile, and they were waiting on us. They had dug in on both sides of the road and just about wiped us out. And we finally got some air support in there, and we drove them back. You know, I was laying there. I had a old M14 rifle. Thing wouldn't eject. They just give them to us when we got over there, and we didn't have a chance to fire them or anything, you know. So my first time to fire that thing, it just brat. It wouldn't eject it. I was laying there, going dang Viet Cong crawling all around us, you know. Bap. Throw another round in.
Did it happen near Lac?
It was north of Lac, about 20 miles.
Was that in the Michelin
Rover plantation? Yeah. But we finally got out of that. Like I say, we got air support come in, and we got in our little old condo, and our front line ambulance had 2 tires shot out of it, one on the front and one on the rear. And we made it on into that South Vietnamese compound. I was hitting the leg and bleeding pretty good. They brought helicopters in to haul all the wounded out back to Lac. And God, that was a trip, man. I was so nervous, I didn't even know what I was doing. I got there. So we got back to Lac as our headquarters. Got down to 1st Med Battalion, and this was an old French rubber plantation. And they still had the old French style buildings, and we'd set up a hospital in there. Doctor got me up on the gurney, working on my leg. Just about the time I got halfway comfortable up there, the sniper broke loose right outside the window shooting. I rolled off the dang gurney and I hit the floor. Still nervous as a tomcat, you know. But they doped me all up with morphine and everything. Kept me there overnight and then sent me out the next morning to 3rd Surgical Hospital down close to Saigon.
What unit were you with in Vietnam?
1st Battalion, 2nd Battalion, 28th Infantry.
You're still a medic?
Yeah.
And you're in Vietnam how long?
That time I was only there about 7, 8 months.
Yeah.
And my ETS came up. And I'd had trouble ever since I got over there. My finance record didn't go with me. I wasn't getting paid. My wife wasn't getting any money. Not this wife, isn't my first wife. She wasn't getting any pay. And she had to go to AER and get money to live on. We had 2 kids. My ETS come up. I was in the hospital in Vietnam, or in Saigon. And a little guy from personnel came down to see me, and he said, "Hey, I need to know what you're going to do." Said, "Your ETS is coming up. You going to reenlist?" I said, "You better get the hell out of this room." And I have my record ready to go when I get out of here. I'm going home. So I got out of the Army and went back to Fort Sill and started working in civil service there in the hospital. Worked there for a little over a year, and then I just wasn't satisfied that, you know, I'd been in the Army a while. So I re-enlisted again.
So when did you re-enlist the second time?
1967.
That's when you went to Korea.
Went to Korea.
Yeah.
left Korea and went to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Worked in the hospital there for a while. And I'd only been back there about 6 months, and come down on orders to go back to Vietnam.
I'd like to ask, when you first went to Korea, how'd you travel to Korea?
How did what?
How'd you travel to Korea?
I'm sorry.
How did you go to Korea?
Oh, how did I go?
Yeah.
Plane, flew over.
Oh, you always flew over.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as I was saying, when I got back from Korea to Fort Leavenworth, I'd been there 6 months, and came down on orders to go back to Vietnam. So I called personnel and said, hey, I thought I was guaranteed a year from one hardship tour to another one. He said, you're right, you are. You don't have to go, but you might want to reconsider because you've got a really good assignment. And when you only got 6 months left, and you probably go back anyway. I said, what's my assignment? He said, 36th Evac Hospital in Vung Tau. That's a R&R center right on the ocean, but it's an R&R center for VC and Americans too. They didn't bother each other. So I kind of looked forward to that. I got down to Saigon to this replacement company. This little spectator looked at my orders, ripped them up and threw them in the trash can. Man, I jumped up and grabbed him by the collar. I said, Owen, what the hell you're doing? Those are DA orders. He said, it don't make no difference. You're going to the 101st Airborne. They lost a lot of medics. They need you up there. I said, God, that makes me feel good. So that's where I went, to the 101st Airborne Division.
Where in Vietnam?
The replacement company was in Phu Bai, Hue in Phu Bai. And I was assigned to 1st of the 502nd Infantry out of LZ Sally. That was about 15 to 20 miles southeast of Hue, right on the edge of the Ashaw Valley. And that's where we spent all of our time, was in the Ashaw Valley. And, you know, as a senior medical specialist, they said, don't worry about it, you won't have to go out in the field much. You'll be back in base camp running a dispensary there about half the time. The rest of it was out in the Ashaw Valley.
What'd you do in the Ashaw Valley?
Search and destroy. Just climb up and down them mountains. They'd take one mountain, one hill. As soon as they got established, they'd pull us back to base camp, pull off that hill. And NVA would be back in there the next day. Probably the same way it was with your outfit, the first cab. Take land and give it back to them.
Yep. I couldn't understand that.
I couldn't either. And then they got further, they said, well, we can't fire at them until we get permission. And I thought, nah, it's time for me to get out of here. So, you know, it was all political war anyway. I felt like at the time it was political, and I still think it was.
So how often would you go out on patrol?
Oh, we'd stay in base camp about 3 to 5 days and back out for 3 weeks or so.
Where was your base camp?
Base camp was LZ Sally.
LZ Sally, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they had some base camps out in the valley, fire bases they call them, you know. Fire base, this Lash and Omaha, several of them were more permanent type fire bases.
Now, when you were out for several weeks, what kind of position did you set up at night?
Night defensive positions, guards on the outpost. Now, the medics have pretty well tried to take care of them. They'd leave us pretty much behind, dug in pretty good. But they'd have, depending on where we was at and the terrain and everything, you know, how they could dig in our perimeter, you know, around the perimeter. They'd dig foxholes and you'd have one man awake in the foxhole all the time. Usually two-man foxholes, and one man would be awake and one asleep. One to alternate that. 2 hours on duty and 4 off, you know, something like that. But, the fire bases we had, like for instance, that fire base Lash, we had a huge bunker, all bigger than this trailer, that they made the aid station in. And it was all sandbagged on top, and PSP, and then sandbagged on top of that, you know. And artillery was all around us. It was permanent there for about 3 months, I guess. I'll never forget that one night about 3 o'clock in the morning. This little guy come climbing up the side of that hill. We were sitting right on top of that mountain. And he come up there and said, "I need to see the medic." I said, "I'm a medic, what do you need?" "Come go with me, man, my buddy down here in the foxhole, he ain't breathing, something wrong with him, he's not breathing." So I grabbed my aid bag and, man, it's pitch dark. Tried to get down that mountain, stumbling, falling, everything, you know, and got down there. Guy raised up and said, "Hey, what's happening, dude?" And I grabbed him by the shirt collar. He was just high as a kite from marijuana. I said, "Let me tell you something, you little bastard. Next time you call me, if I get down here, you better be bleeding severely. Because if you're not, you're going to be when I leave." You know, it's dangerous to crawl around out there at night. And, you know, I wasn't an infantry man. I didn't know much about fighting. I learned pretty quick.
Now, did you have VC or NVA in the Ashall Valley, or both?
Both.
Both.
And when I left there, more NVA than there was VC. But there is still a lot of VC.
Have any contact with the local people?
Pardon me?
Have any contact with the local people?
Not much. No. Every village in South Vietnam was off limits to the 101st.
Why?
They were just, 101st was known to be mean to them. If they looked at them wrong, they'd shoot them.
What about booby traps?
Oh, a lot of booby traps, yeah. Out in the valley, you gotta watch really close, but they'd have those pits with punji stakes in them, tripwires with grenades and trees, things like that, just all over the place. Mines. Speaking of that, when I was over there the first time, and with the 1st Division, we've been there about probably 6 weeks or so. And the first sergeant from our Charlie company came over and said, "Does anybody want to go to Saigon? We're going to take a convoy down and get some supplies. And if you want to go along for the ride and maybe do a little shopping or whatever, you can go with us." Well, Platoon Sergeant asked me if I want to go. I said, "Yeah, I'd like to, but you know, I didn't get my pay yet. I don't have any money, so I'll have to set this one out. So this little Spec 5, he said, I'll go. So we went to Saigon, and on the way back, they run over. They figured there was probably a 155 shell buried in the ground tripwire, and blew that truck all to pieces. They couldn't even hardly find enough of it to even bring it back. Killed them, killed everyone in it. And I said, well, there was one lucky day, I guess, for me, not for them, but I had a lot more close calls than that, though.
What happened?
Pardon me?
What happened?
Just a lot of stuff out in the ash show I don't talk about too much. I lost a lot of good buddies out there.
What's your best memory of Vietnam?
Best memory? When I got my order to come home. I didn't have very good memories of that.
What's your worst memory of Vietnam?
Oh, I don't know, just treating all wounded and, you know, seeing them die and everything like that, you know. There's stuff happen that, you know, a person don't like to even talk about, like to forget, but you can't do it. I can remember every minute that I spent in Vietnam, just as clear as if I was still there.
How can you tell the VC from the local people?
You can't. They might be local in the daytime, but at night they're not. You had VC working right on the compound with you if you're back in base camp. They come in, the girls that clean the hoochies and all that stuff, you know. Half of them are VC, or all of them. And they'd get compound layout plans and everything and take it back to the VC headquarters at night, and then they'd come in and throw cytro charges at you or whatever.
When you were out in the field, how were you resupplied?
By helicopter.
Helicopter?
Yeah.
What about rations out in the field?
They'd fly them in, and I remember on Thanksgiving and Christmas, you know, they'd fly out hot meals, turkey and all that stuff, you know. And we had some pretty good rations out there. And 2 beers a day. Whether you drink or not, they'd give it to you. You trade it for sodas or something like that, you know.
How long in Vietnam the second time?
Say what?
How long you in Vietnam on your second tour?
Second tour, I was there a year.
A year?
Yeah.
So when'd you come home?
69. Let's see, November 1969.
What were you thinking when you got your orders to come home?
Yay! I was celebrated a little bit. I had a little wine. And when I was stationed up at Sally, LV Sally, we was about, I guess 25 miles from Phu Bai, where our headquarters were. Well, I had a good sized PX down there in a Class 6 liquor store. So a bunch of us sitting around there one day, and not much going on. And they said, man, I wish somebody would get to that Class 6 store down there and get us something to drink. I said, give me a Jeep and I'll go get some. I said, take that medic jeep over there and a shotgun with you, take that rider with you, and get on down there. And we headed out. We got down there between Hue and Fubai. Hue and Fubai. And they started mortaring. Right off the road there, they'd be dropping mortar shells out there, you know. I just put that little old Jeep on the floor. What could you do? You just drive through it. I said, dang, all this for a bottle of whiskey and some wine or something, you know, and some beer. We had beer, but they wanted some champagne and stuff like that to celebrate New Year's. But we made it down there and got our supply and headed back. Made it back all right, but it's hot. You know how hot it gets in Vietnam. Got back and we had one big 5-gallon water cans. I guess it's 5 gallons, good size. Ice water in it. And they come carrying one of them out there and said, here, drop some of that champagne down in here and get it cold. Yeah. As soon as it hit that ice water, it just exploded. I said, what I put myself through. You get back here and it all gets broken. You know, memories like that was a good part.
Oh yeah.
Fun.
Had a lot of good times in Vietnam.
Yeah, there's a lot of good times.
Yeah.
It wasn't all bad, but most of it was.
Tell me about the monsoons.
Monsoons. We was up north where we was. It was quite a bit higher than it was down around Saigon. And when they hit, it was cold. You know, it didn't seem, or it was colder than it actually seemed. And we didn't have anything, just fatigues to wear, you know. And they flew in a bunch of field jackets and field jacket liners and everything for all of us, you know. And it rained and rained and rained like for 2 and 3 months, just every day. Just you couldn't see, like from here to the road, just poured down. And I hated every minute of it. But it seemed like that's when the VC and the NVA like to hit you. It was during the monsoons. I guess they give them cover or something, you know. They were more used to it than we were.
It was their country.
Yeah, that's right. So it didn't bother them, but it did us. But I wish we could have some monsoon around here about now.
Yeah. Any other thing happened in Vietnam you want to talk about?
Oh, not really.
Okay. So when you came home, where'd you land?
Landed in Oakland. Well, no, it wasn't. It was an army base out there, air base. Can't remember the name of it now. Just up the road from Oakland.
Was it Travis?
Travis, yeah. And we processed in there and give us changed clothes and everything, you know. They said, all right, all of you that are flying out of here on civilian planes, a little word of advice, don't wear your uniform. I said, why? I'm not ashamed of my uniform. They said, well, you haven't been here lately. I said, that was right during the middle of all them protests and everything. They said, you're taking your own life, or your life in your own hands if you wear that out around the airport, because of just protesting everywhere out there. So we didn't wear our uniforms home. That's kind of a sad day.
Yep. How long you stay in the Army?
22 years.
22 years. And you got your discharge when?
In February of 1978.
What did you do from the time you got to left Vietnam until you got your discharge?
I was stationed in Fort Leavenworth County, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas at Munson Army Hospital.
What hospital?
Munson Army Hospital.
Munson Army Hospital.
Yeah. I was in COIC of all the clinics there in the hospital.
And when did you come to Oceana?
Came here in 2000.
And why'd you come here?
Why?
Yeah.
My wife's daughters lived up this way, and all her grandkids, and they live right across the road from us now. And we kind of want to be close to them, and you know, my parents had both died, and I didn't have anyone around Lawton, you know, keep me there. So I said, well, let's just move up there.
Would you join the Army again?
Yes, I sure would.
I'd like to do a word association. I'll give you some words and you give me your reaction. The first one is basic training.
Fun. Rough but fun.
Helicopter school.
Helicopter training was more fun. It was more technical and but it was just fun.
Yeah. Fort Sam Houston.
Miserable.
Walter Reed Hospital.
Walter Reed Hospital was great. It was a good experience.
Why?
Well, to see the advancement in medicine and stuff like that I had never been exposed to, you know.
Why was Fort Sam miserable?
It just the weather there was so miserable, man. It was just hot and humid all the time.
Yeah.
I once down there in like in May and stayed there 2-3 months, something like that. And it was just hot and miserable, you know. That's the first time in my life I ever wore Bermuda shorts as a uniform.
Korea.
Cold, dangerous. Similar to Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Terrible. An experience I don't want to have to I wouldn't wish on anybody, and I wouldn't want to have to go through it again.
Dwight Eisenhower.
Pardon me?
Dwight Eisenhower.
Dwight Eisenhower, he was a good man. I thought probably one of the greatest generals of all time.
John Kennedy.
My idol. He was a good man.
Lyndon Johnson.
He sucked.
Why?
Because he kept that war going for no reason except to better himself and feather his pockets.
Richard Nixon.
He got us out of there, but I guess he was all right. He just got caught up in something. It wasn't entirely his fault.
How do you want to be remembered?
Just an ordinary man. No different than anybody else.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Well, sir, this is an excellent interview.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for your service and thank you for the interview.
You're welcome. Thank
And
you
again,
for your service.
Thank you. And again, this December 12th, 2017. My name is Joe Todd. This has been an interview with Ken Maddox in Oceana, Oklahoma. Thank you.